Hey everyone, this is Chris with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to this week's Cruise and Travel Show. Another week in the books. A lot of cruise news this week, including this story. Is $2,000 really worth it for you to take a vacation right now? Some new travel restrictions could make that a reality. We'll talk about it right after this. So this week, the Canadian Prime Minister announced new travel restrictions for Canada. They say anybody traveling into the country is going to have to take a COVID-19 test upon arrival. And here's where the kicker. So you're going to have to quarantine for 3 days after taking the test at your own expense. So they're going to put you in a government-approved hotel, and that's going to cost you out of pocket about $2,000 per person. Now that $2,000 covers your test, the hotel, food, security, and the extra precautions that the hotel is going to have to take in order to keep its employees safe. But still, that is a $2,000 price tag if you want to take a vacation and travel back into Canada right now. Now, of course, Canada is not the first to do something like this. Both Australia and the UK both currently have policies that say international travelers from high-risk countries that fly in or travel into that country do have to quarantine in an approved location at their own expense. And let's be honest, this is simply a discouragement for non-essential travel to keep people at home and to stop the spread of COVID-19 into these countries. With the new variants out there, vaccines still rolling out, so I don't know how you feel about it, but an extra $2,000 on my vacation would definitely discourage me from taking one right now. So here's my question. Is the United States going to try to do something like this as well? We do already have new travel restrictions that came out this week that say you have to have a negative COVID test 72 hours prior to entering the country from an international location. And you have to show that before you're allowed to board the plane. As of yet, we don't have any quarantine restrictions upon arrival here, but I am curious if our government's going to try to do something like this as well. Not sure how well that would work in this country, but we'll see if they try or not. The CDC did issue a new order on Friday requiring masks to be worn on all transportation traveling into and within the United States. But this is something that's already happening. If you travel by air, you have to wear a mask. As far as cruise ships go, it's already part of the health and safety protocols that a mask is required in public spaces where you can't keep social distancing, and in the cruise terminals when getting on and off the ship. So I guess the CDC just wanted to make it an official order. In other cruising news this week, Norwegian Cruise Line is sending its non-essential crew members back home and only keeping a skeleton crew aboard their ships. Now this is happening in the Caribbean and around Asia. And they didn't specify if it's every ship or just a few. So what does it mean? I've heard opinions that say it's because cruising is not going to happen in 2021. It's going to get pushed further and further back. So Norwegian's just sending them home. I've also heard the other end of the spectrum, which says that this is just a business decision for Norwegian, and it's to help them reduce and cut their costs. In my opinion, I say let's wait and see what happens. I've noticed with the other cruise lines, particularly when it comes to cancellations, that when one does it, the others will usually follow along in the following days. So right now I want to wait and see if any of the other major cruise lines start to send their crew home as well. Haven't heard anything yet from Carnival or Royal Caribbean as far as them sending their people back. So right now this just looks like something Norwegian did, and until the others start following suit, they probably don't know something that we don't know quite yet. In cruise cancellations, Disney Cruise Lines has joined Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian in canceling all cruises through April into the beginning of May. Like I just said, you can usually see one do it and the others follow right along. Disney is simply joining them in the cancellation process. Because as we all know, there's still no news on test cruises. No date has been set. No cruise line has announced they're going to start. We are all still just waiting, sitting on our hands, hoping that the CDC will put out those guidelines soon and we can get this show back on the road. One piece of positive cruising news this week is they did break ground on the new cruise terminal they're building in Miami, which is going to be the home of the Carnival Celebration, which is going to be the Mardi Gras sister ship. And let's be honest, if the cruise industry or the cruise lines thought that cruising was dead, if they honestly didn't believe we were going to resume cruising here at some point, they would not be spending the money to build new cruise terminals. So this is positive. This is good news. It doesn't give us that immediate satisfaction of a test cruise, but it does put a light at the end of the tunnel that we can all look forward to. And in other travel news this week, so Southwest Airlines has announced that starting on March 1st, they are no longer going to allow emotional support animals on board their flights. Now, of course, that does not include trained service animals. Those, of course, will still be allowed. This is only emotional support animals. We've all seen this on the news in the past where someone may want to try to take a peacock on an airplane. Seen that. Locally, down at my grocery store, I've seen people riding ducks around in shopping carts and things like that. But as far as the airlines are concerned, that is over with. If you have a flight scheduled after March 1st and you're planning on taking your emotional support animal, definitely recommend you contact the airlines so they can get with you on those changes and make whatever arrangements you need to make. Now, Southwest does join other major airlines such as American, Delta, and United, who have already adopted this policy and do not allow emotional support animals. Also, I was doing some reading and some checking on all-inclusive resorts, particularly down in Mexico and throughout the Caribbean. A lot of these resorts are now offering COVID-19 tests to their guests within 72 hours of returning to the United States to help meet U.S. travel restrictions and requirements. So if you are planning on taking a trip or were thinking about taking a trip down to one of those all-inclusive resorts and were concerned about getting a test prior to returning to the U.S., check with your resort, because like I said, a lot of them are now offering that in an attempt to, encourage the tourism and get guests to still come down there. They're open, they're ready for business, and they'd like to have you. All right, that is this week's cruise and travel news. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, smash that button for us, and comment below what you think about new travel restrictions. When do you think cruising is going to start? I'm hoping it's any day now. Tomorrow is February 1st. It's a brand new month. Maybe we can have a month of all positive news and stop having quite so much negative news. But until then, everybody have a great week, and we will see you out on the high seas eventually.